Let's be real. Are you stuck in one of those chess losing streaks where it feels like you just can't buy a win? Where you keep making that one bad move that unravels everything. Well, that's what we're going to tackle today. We're going to break down 7 of the most common habits that are costing you games and, more importantly, give you the fixes to turn things around. Let's dive in.
So why does it happen? It's the question we all ask ourselves, right? You're doing puzzles, you're learning openings, but you're just not seeing the results. And here's the secret. It's usually not because you don't know enough. It's because of these tiny, invisible habits that are sabotaging your game from the inside. But the good news? We can fix them. And we're going to start right now.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the mistakes that happen in your mind, the invisible battle. Then we'll get into the actual blunders on the board. After that, we'll look at the big picture, the long game. And finally, we're going to wrap it all up into a brand new winning mindset for you.
Let's kick things off with the most powerful piece in chess, that brain of yours. A ton of games are lost not because of some brilliant move by your opponent, but because of a mental mistake you made before you even touched a piece. Okay, first up is the biggest rating killer of them all. I'm talking about hope chess. We've all done it. You make a kind of tricky move, you cross your fingers, and you just pray your opponent doesn't see what you're up to. But that's not chess. That's just buying a lottery ticket and hoping you hit the jackpot.
So here's the fix. It's a huge mental shift. Stop hoping and start assuming. Assume your opponent is a super grandmaster who sees absolutely everything. Now look at your move. If it falls apart under that pressure, guess what? It's a bad move. Your job is to find a move that's good no matter what they do.
All right, habit number 2 is the reactionary mindset. You know what I mean. They attack your knight, you move your knight. They attack your bishop, you move your bishop. When you play like this, you're basically just putting out fires all over the board. You're letting your opponent call all the shots, and you're never actually creating any threats of your own.
The fix here is to pause. Just take a breath. Before you instinctively react, ask yourself, wait, is this threat actually a big deal? Because sometimes the best move isn't to defend at all. Sometimes you can launch a killer counterattack on the other side of the board that's way more powerful.
Oh man, this one is such a dangerous trap. You come up with this brilliant plan, right? This beautiful checkmating attack, and you just fall in love with it. You get total tunnel vision, and you're so focused on your amazing idea that you completely miss what your opponent is doing to stop you.
So, what's the solution? You have to be ruthless. Forget the plan you came up with 3 moves ago. That board is gone. The position in front of you right now is a totally new puzzle. Your only job is to solve the puzzle on the board, not the one that was in your head.
Okay, so we've worked on the mental game. Now let's get physical. Let's talk about the mistakes that happen on the board itself. Those moments where a great idea somehow turns into a horrible game-losing blunder.
I think we're all guilty of this, especially when playing fast games online. You see a move that looks pretty good, and you just instantly click it. You move on instinct. And that's exactly how you end up hanging your queen or missing a simple checkmate in one. It's a killer.
So the fix is a really simple rule that you can build right into your process. I call it the 3-second blunder check. Think of it like this mandatory pause, a little mental speed bump before you make any move, no matter how obvious it seems.
And here's how it works. It's simple. Step 1, you find the move you think you want to play. Step 2, and I'm serious about this, take your hand off the mouse. Sit on your hands if you have to. Create a physical pause. And then, step 3, use those 3 seconds to do one last scan for any immediate checks, captures, or big attacks your opponent has. This tiny habit will save you so many games. I promise. Ah, yes, the classic beginner trap. You see a check, so you play a check. It feels good, right? It feels active and aggressive. But a lot of the time, these checks are totally pointless. Even worse, sometimes you're actually helping your opponent by letting their king run to a safer square.
So from now on, every check you play has to pass a test. Before you play it, ask, does this check win me a piece? Does it force their king into a terrible spot? Does it lead directly to checkmate? If the answer to all of those is no, then it's probably just a wasted move. Don't play it.
All right, let's zoom out a bit. We've talked about what's in your head and what your hand does. Now we got to talk about the long game. The habits that decide if you can actually take a winning position and carry it all the way across the finish line. We've all felt this pain. You're playing an amazing game, you're totally crushing it, and then, bam, you make a horrible blunder. You hang your queen, And that immediate gut-wrenching feeling just makes you want to hit the resign button and close the window.
It's the classic rage quit.
But you have to remember this, and it is so important. At our level, the game is never over. Your opponent is not a perfect computer. They are just as capable of blundering as you are. If you stay in there, if you make things tricky, you give them every chance to return the favor. Make them prove they can actually win. Don't just hand it to them.
You know, this might be the single biggest mistake people make in how they study chess. We all spend hours learning these cool opening traps and complicated middle game plans, but we completely ignore what everyone thinks is the boring end game. And you know what happens? We get a great position and then have absolutely no idea how to win.
And you've got to understand this. The whole point of the opening is just to get you a decent position. That's it. But the end game, that's where you cash in. That's where you take that tiny advantage and turn it into a victory. I'm telling you, knowing one simple pawn endgame is way more valuable than knowing 20 moves of some obscure opening.
So, there we have it. We've gone from your deepest thoughts to your final moves. And if there's one thing to take away, it's this. Winning at chess isn't about being a genius. It's about building a solid, disciplined process that cuts out all those silly mistakes.
So let's do a super quick recap of your new toolkit. You're going to assume your opponent's a genius. You're going to look for counterattacks. You're going to treat every move like a fresh puzzle. You'll use that 3-second check. Every check will have a purpose. You will never, ever give up too early, and you will remember that the end game is where the money is. I'm telling you, if you apply these, your results are going to change.
So that really just leaves one last question. You don't have to fix all of these overnight. The road to getting better starts by picking just one of these habits and really focusing on it in your next game. So I'll leave you with this. Which one is it going to be for you?